Asukwa, for having me. I'm happy to be here on your platform. So thank you very much.
Thank you. So the topic is the home as the first school, raising values-based children, building a child that will be globally recognized with good values. What role should we expect the home to play?
Okay, thank you so much, Asukwa, for that question. And I'm happy you brought it up from the point of view of, being a global citizen, because at the end of the day, the world is becoming really small, and that means participation, the way we knew it and the way we know it now, is a bit different. So I would say that the home plays a major role. As you said, that home is the bedrock upon which societies are built, because that is the first front line for our human capacity development as a nation and in the country. So for me, when we talk about, building global citizens, first of all, what is global citizenship? It is the awareness that you are a part of a bigger world, and you are conscious and you understand that you form part of that big world, and you also understand the part that you play. And the whole aim is for us to create citizens that are more conscious about equitable guidelines, that are fair, and that can build sustainability across institutions, sectors, and organizations. So what it is that the home is the first interaction that a child will have about what his global view is. So for a child that is about 1 or 2 years old, the globe, as we call it, is his mom, his dad, and the people that are around him. And that is his first interaction with what the world would look like. So the home plays that critical role in imbibing, and forming the values that he will grow up with and become part of the global, part of the global citizen, and part of the move to solve the problems within the society. So it's their first interaction with what the world looks like. And therefore, you know how you and I see the world right now. We know about Lagos, Abuja, Kaduna, we know about the United States, because we have gotten to this stage in our lives, we have reached that level of maturity and exposure. So for a child, his first interaction with what the world is his mom, his dad, and the people that provide nourishment for his development. So that means that whatever the family unit is going to embed in him in those first few formative years, those are the things that will leave an imprint in his mind about how the world is. So every family will have to decide, am I raising a child for global citizenship, local citizenship, or international citizenship? There has to be an alignment, because once you're clear about what you're preparing your child for, if global citizenship, then there are guidelines and values that you have to embed in that child to prepare him for global citizenship. So it is from the family unit that you embed the quality of values that you try to put into the child, including leadership values. So yes, the home plays like what, 100 or when they are born, 100%, yes.
Thank you so much. So where exactly should parents pick up from values like that are age appropriate?
Okay, so what I would say is, with regards to age appropriateness, we will not call it age appropriateness, but development appropriateness. So for example, you have values for children, for the family unit. You have civic values. You have personal development values. You have academic values. So per time, you have to decide what values are relevant for the development of that child per time. So something like honesty is through and through all of the values. So the values chain would have about 10 definitive blocks that must or should be developed. So a child that is about to enter the university will need a different skill set, which he needs to embed in his consciousness so that he succeeds as a student. When he becomes a career or a professional person, he needs a different set of skill sets which will enable him to thrive as a professional. If he's going into leadership role, public office, there are a different set of different type of skill sets that he needs to embed to help him succeed, in that role. So with regards to age appropriateness, it's more to do with developmental appropriateness. At this stage in this child's life, what will the child need based on the general vision? What skill set will be relevant? So if he's going into social, when he's growing, so for his social development, there are certain skill sets he will need to develop, to relate and to develop his interpersonal skills with the world. So it's not about the age appropriateness, it's just relevant to his development per time.
being in this field of values-based education, so I want to say, from your assessment, what would you say, how would you assess parents and schools as regards this enormous duty of raising values-based children?
I would say I commend parents and I commend the schools. They are all doing an amazing job. Say or to downplay the role or the efforts that any of these two institutions are making towards ensuring that we groom, children that are values-based would be doing them an injustice. So what I would say is that there's just a gap. That is the thing, it's a gap. So the way we interacted with values as far back as 30, 25 years ago is different today, So today there's a different set of demands and structure that must be embedded or put in place so that those values are not lost. So I think the schools are doing an amazing job. I think parents are really doing an amazing job. The only missing link, I would say, is now trying to intentionally create the structure, because adaptability is very, very key to the human survival, and that means we need to understand when we need to adapt and change structures and change systems and change foundational learning, with regards to how we develop our societies. And so if we continue to run in the same trajectory, imagine that the way we could instill values 25 years ago, that we're still going to use that same method, to instill those values that are relevant to the development of our society today, then that's where we are going to be having that missing link. So with regards to the schools and the homes, I think the only missing link is intentionally creating that structure to ensure that those values are well embedded.
So there seems to be a void in the role that government or government institutions should be playing.
Okay, with regards to how government can, I guess what you're saying is come on board or get with, structure of what's happening right now.
Yeah.
It's first of all, they have to realize that there is a problem. And when you don't realize that there's a problem, then you do not even know where to start solving the problem from. And so for me, the role the government has right now is to first of all assess what are the issues that we are having in the country. Where are those issues coming from and how do we begin to solve them? And we're not talking about solving the problem not from a quick fix point of view, but from a sustainable point of view, which is going to take some time. So that means that we need to start running political parties in a way that will have a vision for Nigeria as a whole, as a country. Now, minus our political agenda, minus what we feel are manifesto supposed to be carrying as political parties for the country as a whole. What are the values that are relevant to us? When we embed those values and we have those national values, if we say that in the next 15, 20 years, we want to develop children that are creative in this particular field, if we say that our focus will be on honesty, we want to rebrand the country and how people see us within, the whole world, we want to rebrand the way our Nigerians are perceived. When we have those core values, then we're not going to be able to now embed those values to run through, because, we're only as great as our leaders. There are no bad countries, there are no bad people, there are no bad organizations. Nothing is bad. It's leadership that makes it bad, because virtue flows from up down. So I would say that until the government realizes that the education sector is the most fundamental, education and health, those two sectors are very critical to our development in the next 10, 15, 20 years. I don't know that we're going to start focusing on values and actually ensuring that we embed those values in our curriculum and they reflect ultimately in the courses, our subjects, and in the things that we do. Right now, skills are different. Demand for different types of skills are becoming a bit more fluid and flexible. So that means there has to be a critical look at what the education sector is doing. Now, the families, I see that a lot of families are really driven right now to ensure that values are embedded in their homes, in spite of the fact that, when they get out there, it's a different conversation. But I always say, we can't wait for the government. Let them catch up with us. Let them catch up with us. But for now, those of us that are able to see the gap and see the problem that this is creating and its full long-term impact. At the beginning, I said the first point of contact for a child is the family unit. The second is the community. The third is society at large, and ultimately the nation. So we get our leaders straight from that pool. So it's also relevant that while we wait for government to put a focus, I know that Lagos State, for one, they are really focused on values-based education and learning. I know that for a fact. While the rest of the country catches up, they have a huge role to play. But while between now and when they eventually catch up, because these things eventually will catch up, until they see that there is a problem in that area or sector, then there's really not much we can do. People like yourself, myself, talking early years, winning at parenting, early learners place. There's quite a number of people that I follow on my page. We just have to keep doing what we do. And eventually, and when I listen to the news every morning, I still hear the conversations moving in that direction. So just maybe in another 2 years, the move will be there. They have a critical role to play, setting values for the nation, first of all. Yeah.